An obesity roundtable is slated to go ahead later this week. Clamping down on advertising of junk food should be top of the agenda. That's according to one independent MP. Joining me now for more on this, independent member for Mackellar, Sophie Scomps. Thanks for your time. So, junk food advertising, what do you want to stop and why?
Well, we know that people being in the unhealthy weight range has been growing and growing. So 1 out of 3 children, a quarter of children are in the unhealthy weight range and 2/3 of adults are in the unhealthy weight range. So we know it's not an individual problem. We know it's a societal problem, so we need a societal response. And we also know that children are being absolutely inundated with advertising on the TVs, on social media, and we know how powerful that pester power is for parents. So it's all about regulating advertising on TV and social media, in line with what is happening in the UK as well. They're due to bring something in next year, which is exciting.
So the long-held view is during times children are watching, reducing how many so-called junk food ads can run. What about online? It's a bit trickier, but it's where more and more younger people in particular go. How do you do that? How do you sort of target that?
Well, what happens in the UK is basically they're banning advertising from junk food companies before 9 p.m. So we know that children don't only watch children's shows. You sit down with the family and you watch all sorts of things, sports events, other family shows. So it is really no junk food advertising before 9.
Yeah, so that's TV, but what about online? I mean,
well, it needs to be banned online as well, in social media and things, where it can be.
But what does that mean, totally ban junk food ads online? Because you can't really do a time thing.
Oh, it's difficult. It's difficult. So that's why we're having a roundtable with, experts from all over the place, academics, health professionals, and also communications, so that we can look at the best evidence and look what will be likely to be most effective.
I mean, but that prospect, you're saying ban all junk food ads online. That sounds pretty draconian.
Well, it's actually, there's a lot of support for it. So 7 out of 10 parents or Australians want these advertising to be regulated. So people want their children to grow up in an environment where they can be healthy, where they can flourish and grow into healthy adults as well. And the big problem is we know that this issue of overweight and obesity is costing our health system $11 billion a year. It's a huge amount, and it causes major chronic disease. So everything from cancers, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, dementia. We have a health system in crisis, and it's common sense to look at the prevention end of things.
What about stars? Nutrigrain gets 4 stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
it's a problem.
If you love your Nutrigrain, I love single it out.
Sorry.
We had a packet. I picked it up the other day in the pantry. 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, yes, exactly. There's a problem with that. So, yes.
I think it's reduced its sugar content, but it just still seems, do we need to look at this whole system and what's...
Yeah, so this is just one facet. You're absolutely right. This is just one prong of what should be a multifaceted approach. And so when we looked at what happened with tobacco public health initiatives, there were so many different initiatives that all added together. So there was the taxation, there was the advertising, there was the, no longer advertising for sporting teams, which we're not looking at, but also, the plain packaging and things like that.
All the range is Ozempic, this diabetes drug that's helped some people sort of to shed massive weight when they haven't been able to. Does that have a role? I know it's, not the magic bullet, but for some people that they get to a weight where they just can't lose it, that sort of thing can help them make the drastic change, then they need to make the lifestyle change. Does that have a role?
Yes, 100%. And I think people, when they are, particularly to prevent things like pre-diabetes and also people who are diabetic already, but it's really important we prevent people progressing from pre-diabetes to diabetes as well. And people do find it very difficult to lose weight. So it can be very motivating when you're on something like that. You start dropping the weight, then you're motivated to bring on those healthy changes. Yeah.
All right. PEP 11, finally. It looks like there'll be a settlement, but essentially Scott Morrison's veto will be cancelled. Is this just Labor following process? Is that fair enough?
I think that's fair enough. I think they are following process. I also know that if there was a whiff that this was going to be an issue again for the Northern Beaches, that there'd probably be a rebellion on the beaches. But it is something that people feel very strongly about. And the PEP 11 will extend from Manly to Newcastle. So it's a huge area. So it does affect a lot of people. But it's not only about NIMBYism, it's about what type of future do we want? We've been told by the International Energy Agency that there should be no further oil and gas exploration. So that's part of it as well.
Right, but that process, it's fair enough that's followed, that even though you would back Scott Morrison doing it in that way, isn't
Look,
the right way to do
100%.
it.
I think that there was an issue with the process, obviously, because Scott Morrison signed himself into the Resources Ministry, and that's created this question mark. So yes, the government does have to go through that proper process.
All right, and just your thoughts finally on Lydia Thorpe quitting the Greens.
Well, I've just heard it as well. So I think when values no longer align, then this naturally happens. So I'll be interested to hear what she has to say as well. But yeah.
Does it sort of throw the Voice campaign a bit of a curveball?
Oh, look, I don't think so. I think the Voice campaign is just kicking off, and I think there's a lot more people than just politicians who are involved in this debate. And actually, it's interesting because the invitation, the Uluru Statement of the Heart, the invitation was to the people of Australia, not to politicians and not to Parliament. You know, it's not for us to dictate. And they certainly don't want it to become a political football.
Sophie Scomps, thanks for your time.
Thank you.